Okay, I'll call it to order. We'll start with the assessor for roll call.
Larry Stein, present.
Sorry, I thought I had to remind you who it was. Miles Davidson.
Butch Freeman.
Brian Mon.
Carrie Bloomert, Marissa Treat.
Rick Warren. Tom Johnson III.
And Sheriff, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Notice of the meeting was properly posted on June 18th. And is there a motion to approve both the minutes of May 23rd and 14th of June?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any individual consideration on the consent docket?
Yes. Good morning. Hold on, Carrie. This is your vote for the minutes. Thank you.
This is your friendly reminder to hit the button on the screen.
Okay. There needs to be a correction on 26.
She's on the minutes.
We're still on the minutes.
Oh, we're still on the minute?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we just need you to
If you
push the
could just
button.
vote on the minutes, that would be great.
There we go.
There.
Thank you.
All right.
Now,
I'm on a vote.
All right, so 23 and 26, and Carrie is going to explain 23, which we will end up striking, and then 26 just as a very small amendment.
Yes. So on 23, that's the cash fund appropriation for employee benefits. We're going to ask to go ahead and strike this. The agenda item says not to exceed $93,386.04, but actually the 308 is for $557,641.03. So we're asking for a special budget board meeting on Monday at 10:30 to approve this this item. Yeah.
And this is to make sure that employee benefits has everything they need.
So they
before
can
the end of the year.
encumber, right? Yep. And the 26 just should say June premium instead of May premium.
Okay.
And then that's the only changes to the consents.
Motion to approve with changes.
You want to strike
And
23
striking item
and then
23.
fix 26.
Correct,
Okay.
please.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm forehead.
Monthly financial report.
Morning.
Morning.
As we start here, this is the general fund budgets versus last year.
Could you put the microphone up to your mouth, please? Thank you.
This is very temporary here, but it shows that we have 179,000 left in reserve. That'll change by the end of this meeting. And that's the same, that's the breakdown showing the 179,000 left after all the changes of general reserve this year. And this is the budget versus actuals. It shows the revenue versus expenditures. And the cash balance of $25,356,604 at the end of May period. This one is the comparison this year versus last year at this time period. And as you can see, we are 6.2 million higher than in cash balance than we were last year.
Jennifer, is ARPA included in that or no?
Um, It should be,
I would think that'd just be revenues. It could be ARPA
it's
interest.
revenue versus, yeah.
It could be
just
ARPA
the
interest.
There's
yeah.
gonna be ARPA interest.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then on the employee benefits fund, which John's report is more up to date, but as of the end of May, we show an estimated $3.6 million shortfall. But a lot of things happen, and so John's report will be much better, and he'll be presenting this right after this. And then on this one, it shows that we do have less pharmacy costs, but overall, the net paid claims is 1.5 million higher as compared to last year as of May 31st. And this is pretty much showing the same prior comparison for the medical. And then the last one here, it shows we have 213,975 in unallocated capital funds. Any questions? Thank you.
I'll move to receive.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, BET.
The great news is we have no additions to the watch list this month. We do have some recommendations associated with the watch list. 3 of the juvenile items, the amounts for food and utilities, salaries, and benefits are on your agenda as a BET recommendation. That is item number 32. Currently, we have $179,738 in in the general fund reserve. Those 3 juvenile items add up to $179,000. So if you approve item 32 later, that will leave $738 in the reserve account. We also have a recommendation on item 31 that I'll be happy to discuss when we get there. That one is associated with the employee benefits account.
It'll leave how much?
$738.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah.
All right, is there a
I'll
motion?
move to receive.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Good morning. There's 2 pages to my report. The first one's through the end of May, kind of what the county clerk reported, but I'm going to skip to the second page. It's more relevant. This is through the end of this fiscal year. We know all of our expenses, so I want to provide you the most updated information possible. On medical claims, we've done way better than we did last fiscal year. Through the end of this month, we'll be $2.1 million under where we were last fiscal year. So ending the year, which is very positive. On prescription claims, seeing some very good trends on those now. This fiscal year, we paid 2 months more of prescription claims versus last fiscal year. So a lot more months of claims this fiscal year than last. We're actually coming under now, 69,000 under where we were last fiscal year, and that's with paying 2 months more of prescription claims. So that's a huge deal. So overall, yeah, those up. We're $2.2 million under on medical and prescription where we were ending last year. If you look down at the bottom for a net number, because we always take the reimbursements off of the expenses to get a net number, we're about 1.4 million over. Last year, we had some big stop loss claims, so we received some reimbursements, and that's kind of why our claims were higher last year. So you'll see more money came in the door to help reimburse those claims. And then our COVID claims were way larger last fiscal year than they were this fiscal year. But overall, medical and prescription claims, as they're performing, the end of this fiscal year, we're seeing 7% under, so that's really good.
When you say we've paid, was it 2 months
2
more
months,
claims?
uh-huh.
You're basically just saying that we're much more caught up on our payments than last fiscal year.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And even with paying 2 more months, we're still under where we were last fiscal year.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to receive.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, these, does this create a new line item for capital projects?
Is Keith
Do you
here?
want to explain on behalf of Keith? Would probably be said more eloquently.
I seriously doubt that. This is, if you recall, at the beginning of this fiscal year, we utilized some dollars to do some door control, card reader access over at the courthouse for some of the judicial doors. There were a couple that were missing from that project, and this would allow us to add the ones that were missed in the initial installation.
This might be a question for Captain Baisden. Are all of those functioning, working, up and running?
I would say that would be a question
Okay.
for Baisden or somebody over at the judiciary. I've not heard any complaints.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The Cody show today.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, as you guys are aware, we've been tracking employee benefits for a while. Due to a few issues, we are a little bit short this year in that account, similar to last year. We had discussions in BET about pass the hat, and we sent emails out to every department and entity that receives general fund dollars to see if they had any money that would normally be seed corn that we could utilize at the end of this fiscal year to make sure that our employee benefits account is whole. We got some positive responses from numerous departments. Our recommendation is to transfer an amount of $641,000 into employee benefits as follows: $85,000 from the sheriff's office, $150,000 from general government, $20,000 from MIS. Election board has $38,000 they're willing to transfer. Social services $138,000. Treasurer's office $130,000. District 2 $50,000, and engineering $30,000. That amount plus the amount that you will appropriate at the next special meeting, that $557,000, should get us through the rest of the fiscal year in the employee benefits account. Set us up well going into next year.
Say that last part again.
Well, if you recall on the consent item or the consent docket this morning, you had an item that you had to strike. That was for employee benefits. It's $557,000. The agenda item said 93. When you have a special meeting early next week, that 557 will be on there. That appropriation plus these transfers will get employee benefits through the end of the fiscal year.
Is there a motion?
I'll
No.
move approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Discussion?
Oh,
Discussion.
Okay, sorry.
Are we surprised by some of the folks that didn't contribute to passing the hat? Have we had any indication there might be some donations from perhaps the jail trust and those didn't materialize?
I did receive a phone call from the CFO over there a month or two ago, and we discussed it. He had indicated that he would send an email to Cassie. I had followed to Cassie because Cassie's the one that sent the email out to everyone. Then fast forward a few weeks, go into last week, I had sent they had sent an email back over to me wanting to know what information that she needed. And I responded the dollar amount that you guys can contribute. And I didn't hear anything else from then. And I don't think Cassie did either. So that's all I know about the trust.
Well, the indication was the trust was going to provide some passing to help when we were passing the hat. And they're 20% of our employees, and they haven't done anything in the last 2 years to help us on that.
Yeah, I should back up. The first conversation that I had with the CFO, he had called me to have the conversation, and he had indicated that they wanted to participate and help out. And that's when I had said, well, email Cassie, that way she has the paper trail of the dollar amount and we know what we're dealing with. And so I don't know what transpired, why we didn't get the dollar amount. I followed back up and they wanted to know what information she needed. And there was indication that they were willing and able, but we didn't ever get a dollar amount from them.
When you say willing and able, did they have money left over in their budget? Does it look like they're gonna have some money left over? And if so, do you know that amount?
I believe it was in the neighborhood of between $2.5 and $3 million is what they were anticipating.
And like the rest of us, does that come back, as Butch would say, as seed corn back into us, or do they keep that?
It does not. Every penny that we give over there stays over there. It does not come back if it's not spent. in the
So as
fiscal
our
year.
budget evaluation team, do you guys at that point, at the end of the year, adjust their budget with that 2.5 million? So whatever they're asking, we give them minus that 2.5 million that they have left over?
We have not. What they've done is presented an estimate of needs with their total request, and they use the lapse money as part of their overall, and then they subtract that from their overall need and then ask us for a certain amount, and then they have estimated other revenue sources. We stayed flat with them for this fiscal year, just like everybody else. If there's a desire from budget board to increase that budget or decrease that budget, that's completely up to you guys, and we will be back having discussions about budgets come September for the September supplement.
So decrease law enforcement?
I'm sorry?
Decrease law enforcement? Is that what we're suggesting?
No,
Because they are law enforcement.
no, we're not.
And they've got a $2 million project that they're getting ready to do at the county jail.
I don't
that they
believe
haven't
nobody's
announced yet.
suggesting we,
No, we're talking
I
about
think what we're
deducting.
talking is accounting.
We're talking about deducting from a budget that's already too short. One, they can't hire enough people. Two, we all that have served here know the expense of operating that jail. That expense is immense.
DA is advising that we've
Yeah.
gone off the
And
agenda.
I
Way
wasn't
off
suggesting
track.
that we would add or subtract them. What I'm saying is,
It's up to
to
us.
answer the question, it's up to you guys,
Right.
and
My
we can
question
make
was to you,
adjustments.
separately.
Okay.
Commissioner Miles, if we can get back on track and stay on track, what we're talking about is the money left over being the fact that we were looking for seed corn donations. Our discussion was that. So they're $2.5 million. And since we're leaving on a flat budget, meaning they're getting exactly what they got last year, plus the $2.5 million is left over. I'm not trying to deduct nothing from nobody. I'm just asking about numbers, because that's the gist of the whole thing, is how much money is there or not there.
Still think the DA feels like we've ventured off course. This is just for the numbers on this agenda, correct, ma'am?
Well, it has to, the reason I was asking the question, because it has to do with the numbers on the page. I mean, I don't think that's off base at all. But I guess the bottom line is, for the past 2 years, it's been approximately $4.1 million that has lapsed at the trust over the last, in 23 and 24, correct? 22 and 23.
That's about
That
right.
sounds about right.
Okay. And nobody's from the trust here to explain what they're doing or if they're, what their projects are.
I'm here. I'm here. I
was-
just did.
I was unaware of a project that was going to be used with those funds.
The commissioner to my left and the treasurer to my left are also both aware of it. They're redoing the first floor, but since that's not part of the agenda, we can't.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to explain in commissioner comments.
So we paused for discussion. Is there any other discussion? Because we've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Is there any opposed? Okay. Thank you for those explanations.
I think that the unofficial discussion that we were not allowed to have needs to be had. It needs to be had probably very soon as we are going into the budgeting, because I think that the points that are asked are incredibly valid points, especially when the rest of us came up with 641,000. So at some time, it needs to be discussed.
You're absolutely correct, and I think the BET chairman here and county clerk's office have come up with a great idea about taking all benefits funds, correct? And stuffing that inside of benefits, and that would include them. So then that money never actually leaves, like,
We are being strongly admonished by the DA here, so don't shoot the messenger. Mr. BET
Well,
Chair.
then shoot the DA.
that is the messenger.
No, you'll be in very big trouble.
That is the messenger.
Didn't
mean that.
He did not mean that.
Did
He did not mean that.
Figuratively speaking.
Item 32,
We
Cody.
don't advise that.
Quick.
Yes,
Quick.
item 32 is related to the Juvenile Justice Center. We've had items on our watch list for a while, and they've been tracking them to see if they were going to need it. They've had a significant amount of payouts this year over and above what they normally get from folks that are retiring, leaving service, that have hundreds of hours of banked vacation that they have to pay out. And they had some issues in their M&O account, thinking from their finance department that they had certain amounts allocated for food, and there was just some issues there. Juvenile is aware of those issues now. They are correcting them, moving forward. However, it's kind of put them in a little bit of a pickle to end the fiscal year. So what we are recommending is a transfer of $179,000 from the general fund reserve, as well as $6,000 from emergency management. Emergency management made money available just like everybody else to either be available for employee benefits or for this item. It just happened that the 179 plus, since they had 6,000 available, it adds to 185. That's what she needed. That's why the emergency management is on this one instead of employee benefits. So those two items get you to 185,000. That will get Juvenile through the end of the fiscal year, barring any unforeseen retirements, in the last few days that they have to pay out.
Now, the BET, my understanding is, really vetted this deeply, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you're comfortable not only with the requirement, but with the numbers put to the requirements.
Yes, sir. Now, of course, we rely on the information that is given to us. We ask questions to make sure the situation makes sense, but we don't go into Munis and do an internal audit, if you will. But based on the explanations that we got, everything makes sense. I think they are making the necessary changes for corrective action so they're not in this situation in the future. Hannah has assured us that she does not think that this 185 is going to mean that they're going to need additional allocations for next fiscal year. Now that she's aware, she can move stuff around and plan. First of all, she's not anticipating such a high number of payouts in next fiscal year. And as it relates to the food, they will make other accommodations throughout the year so that they have that money available. So
Move approval, item 32.
Second, just real quick, Cody, do we know, to the treasurer's great seed corn, do we know what lapse funds we're going to see?
well, all I can tell you right now is it's going to be about $647,000 less than it would have been.
So the answer is no.
I do not know.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
33, District 1.
This is transferring highway cash over to, transfer of highway cash M&O, not to exceed 300,000, 200,000 into salaries, 100,000 going into benefits. As you all might be aware, our highway cash, because of, I don't remember the law, the number of the law, but basically we're not going to receive highway cash appropriations for the month of June, which would mean it affects our July. And so District 1 is having to move money around to make sure that we can still continue our highway operations, even though we're not getting highway cash in July. So that's what this item is.
The great thing is the legislature fixed that
Good.
and removed that cap.
Good.
So hopefully that this
Yeah.
will be the last time. that we
Yeah,
have
it was
to
a
do
cap
something.
on the amount that could go to counties from oil and gas gas and diesel taxes. So I'm happy that they fixed that.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
My understanding is Ms. Kent has requested this item be stricken.
Yeah.
I have a note to that effect, okay? So, is there a motion to strike?
Second.
You're asking me, is there a motion or are you saying
Well, I
motion?
think finally somebody.
Yeah, I'll
and
do
then- All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
35 is a request from Emergency Management for a transfer of general fund not to exceed 5,500. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Citizens to speak? I just took a guess.
Very briefly, Michael Washington. Just want to put, now this is the actual budget meeting, right? This is the first time I've attended this. Am I correct on that? Now, just as you wonderful people are, I'm equally interested in knowing where this $4.1 million has gone and been spent by my illustrious Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority myself. Guess what I'm going to do now? Since I didn't know that much was being spent quietly, and obviously misled even by you not having an understanding, sounds like that may be needing an audit somewhere, and you'll have the power to do that, right? Now, I am one who will not allow anyone to mismanage any kind of monies when it comes to my tax dollars. I am the one who spends for my popcorn, potato chips, and even gas, so that others like yourself can have jobs, and at the same time being able to send monies in different departments. So if y'all yourselves don't know, maybe some buddies has been given some, I have their pockets greased. Now, again, I don't put that allegation out there because it's not fair to anyone. But a floor, which is no problem, being redone. Was it $2 million going to a jail? I don't know if that was attached to that particular project. But I'll say in a minute and 40 seconds left. We need more transparency here. This is my first board meeting, agenda budget meeting, and I feel interesting even though I'm late because I walked in the middle of great discussion and topics. Like you, I get off track sometimes, but that's human nature. Having said that, with a minute and 15 left, we need someone. You asked the question earlier. Where from, was it 2023 to 2024, 2022, 2023, where did $4.1 million been spent? We got to find out. That's interesting. Now, maybe I'll track on that part. With 55 seconds left, time sure flies because I have to kind of rush in what I don't like to, but I like to stay within the framework. This man has been pretty good and let me speak. With that, in closing, I, as a citizen of the great city of Oklahoma City, believe that a strenuous, non-conforming, direct and pertinent investigation be done into this spending. And if there's any wrongs that can be discovered, someone needs to be held accountable. And that even means the recommendation that I know you can't remove them, that recommendation that the hiatus get up off the clock. So let me say in closing, thank y'all very much for allowing me this time to grace you with my understanding of the county budget board meeting. Thank y'all very much and have a wonderful day. I'll be back. Thank you.
Other citizens to speak? Board comments, assessor?
I got nothing.
3.
No, thank you.
Treasurer?
What the hell was that about?
Have you ever seen him speak?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, no, Butch comes running down when he does.
Clerk, court clerk, treasurer, sheriff. Okay, hearing none, is there any new business? Is there a
Motion to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What?